Hari Om Tat Sat. Welcome to Jyotirmayananda channel. We focus on spirituality, a journey to self-realization. Please subscribe for the mystical meanings of the scriptures and to enjoy daily satsang with us. We are currently exploring the book The Art of Positive Feeling, authored by Swami Jyotirmayananda Maharaj and narrated by Swami Nikhilananda. Today we are still continuing on the topic of pride or mada, which is a very important part of our vice that we need to cleanse, purify. So today we will start with the pride of the Pandavas humbled. In the Mahabharata, the 5 Pandava brothers represent the forces of virtue, while their cousins, the Kauravas, represent the forces of evil. The following 3 stories from this great scripture highlight the manner in which the 3 of the Pandava brothers received profound lessons in humility, which helped them grow in wisdom and spiritual strength. Bhima's lesson in humility is the first story. At one time during the 12-year period in which the Pandavas were living in the forest, Arjuna went away to the heavenly world to attain the celestial weapons necessary to guarantee victory in the future confrontation with the Kauravas. While Arjuna was away, his brothers and Draupadi visited great pilgrimage centers in the Himalayas. One day at the holy shrine of Badri Kedar, a northeastern puff of wind brought a flower of exquisite beauty, and it fell right near Draupadi. Captivated by the beauty and fragrance of that flower, Draupadi asked Bhima to bring her more of them. Eager to fulfill Draupadi's request, Bhima set out in the direction from which the flower had been carried by the wind. Endowed with superhuman strength and capacities of which he was exceedingly proud, Bhima was able to cross mountains and forests at breakneck speed, and he quickly arrived in a plantain grove near the region presided over by Kubera, the god of treasure. There in that grove, Bhima encountered a gigantic old monkey lying across his path and blocking his passage. When Bhima asked that monkey to move aside, the monkey said that he was too old to move, and that if Bhima was so interested in passing that way, he should just move his tail and pass on. Annoyed with the old monkey, Bhima arrogantly started to lift its tail, but he couldn't do it. He could not even stir it. Summoning all his strength, he became full of perspiration and began to choke, and yet the tail did not even budge an inch. Bhima thought to himself that this could not be an ordinary creature, and suddenly filled with humility, he bowed down before that monkey, inquiring about his real nature. The monkey then introduced himself as Hanumanji, the leader of the monkey army in Rama's time, and proceeded to tell Bhima all about the events in Treta Yuga that led to the eventual defeat of Ravana. In the course of their conversation, Hanumanji revealed to Bhima the majestic cosmic form he had assumed when he crossed the ocean. The intention of Hanuman that day in the forest was to meet Bhima, to test his strength, and to bestow upon him his blessings. The two, Bhima and Hanuman, were actually brothers. Hanuman was the son of the wind god during Treta Yuga when Rama was born, and Bhima was the son of the wind god in Dwapar Yuga when Krishna was born. Bhima was immensely delighted to have met Hanuman, and when Hanumanji affectionately took Bhima in his arms, Bhima felt a new energy emerged in his body, and he became much stronger than before. Although Bhima had been renowned for his great strength and was quite proud of that strength, he learned from his encounter from Hanumanji the majestic power of cosmic energy, of cosmic prana. Before that energy that sustains and empowers every individual, the power of his egoistic personality was but little. Let's move to the next story, Yudhishthira's lesson in humility. During the Mahabharata war, Dronacharya began to employ celestial weapons against the army of the Pandavas. Although using such devastating weapons against ordinary soldiers was considered highly unrighteous in those days. Seeing the terrible devastation brought about by the sinful methods, Lord Krishna resolved to bring the power of Dronacharya to an end by employing a form of divine deception. Dronacharya was endowed with such tremendous power that he was considered virtually unconquerable. However, he had great attachment to his son Ashwathama, and that attachment made him vulnerable. Lord Krishna explained to the Pandavas that only if Dronacharya were to learn of the death of this dear son would he be overwhelmed with sufficient grief to lay down his arms and stop fighting. With Krishna's words in mind, Bhima killed an elephant named Ashwathama and then cried out, "Ashwathama is dead." When Dronacharya heard this, he became deeply upset, but could not believe that it was his son who had been killed. He asserted that he would not believe this terrible news unless he heard it uttered directly by Yudhishthira, who was well known for his unflinching devotion to truth. At this point, Krishna persuaded Yudhishthira to come forward and confirm the death of Ashwathama. With great reluctance, Yudhishthira brought his chariot within the hearing range of Dronacharya and shouted, "Ashwathama has been killed." When Yudhishthira was about to softly add, "Not man but elephant," the sounds of the battlefield drowned out those qualifying words before Dronacharya could hear them. Thus convinced that it was his son who had indeed been killed, Dronacharya sadly laid down his arms and vowed to fast unto death. Seeing the Guru they had once loved in this pathetic situation, the Pandavas would merely have taken him prisoner. But to the horror of all, Drishtadumna rushed forward and quickly beheaded Dronacharya while he sat in meditation. In this story about the deceiving of Dronacharya, the Mahabharata brings out a subtle point regarding virtue, that the principles of ethics are not as black and white as they would seem. The words that Krishna persuaded Yudhishthira to speak to Dronacharya were apparently untrue, but at the same time they were necessary to bring about the ultimate victory of the forces of virtue. Practicing a virtue such as truthfulness is not a matter of laying down some laws and following them literally, mathematically. The practice of virtue requires a complex handling of the mind and deep philosophical insight. Although one may speak what seems true, if that truth does not serve the greater long-range purpose of the divine plan, then it is actually falsehood. If that truth is in conflict with a higher truth, then it should not be uttered, or it should be watered down or refashioned with wisdom. For Yudhishthira to gain this understanding, his subtle spiritual pride about being the paragon of truthfulness had to be quelled. Throughout his life, Yudhishthira had faithfully adhered to the concept of speaking the truth as he saw it, and he was well known for his vow never to utter a lie. In Yudhishthira, as well as in any spiritual aspirant, such a vow to pursue the ethical injunction of satyam or truthfulness is indeed praiseworthy. However, in the earlier stages of spiritual evolution, such a vow is generally tinged with egoistic pride and made with a shallow intellectual understanding that must give way to more profound wisdom as one advances. So it was with Yudhishthira also. To make Yudhishthira aware of these erroneous concepts hidden in his unconscious and help him eliminate them, Krishna brought out the weakness in front of thousands of great heroes. Thereby he helped Yudhishthira purify himself more effectively and move to higher levels of understanding. Thus, Through the intervention of Krishna, the personality of Yudhishthira became more integrated. At the same time, Dronacharya was destroyed and the eventual victory of the Pandavas was made more secure. Hari Om Tat Sat. So we end today's satsang and we will continue this journey with the third story of Arjuna's lesson in humility. Om Tat Sat.